The client said, Paco, you seem like a very smart guy. I'm like, well, thank you very much. Why are you in real estate? Hey guys, this is Paco The Realtor Podcast number 2. Today, I'm not going to be talking about technicalities or real estate market or interest rates. I'm going to be talking about a question a client asked me yesterday. The client said, Paco, you seem like a very smart guy. I'm like, well, thank you very much. Why are you in real estate? Which led us down the road of an interesting conversation of how I got into it, but it also reminded me why people have this image of realtors. So I'm going to get into that. How to tell the difference between a real good realtor who's an entrepreneur, who understands business, who's a problem solver, who could think 3 steps ahead, versus a licensed agent who just happens to be licensed. So, why did I get into this? I am a college graduate. I got my bachelor's and BS out of Cal Poly Pomona, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always knew that. I just didn't know in what. And then I went and got one of the best sales training by being part of Xerox Business Services back in the early 2000s. They had it's called Spin. They had one of the best sales training. And I was there for 3 years. I handled $1 million accounts in the Irvine Spectrum area. But I got burned out real quick. I was 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, working for somebody else. It just burned me out. So I went and then worked for the government as an investigator for the State Board of Equalization. I lasted 2 years there. I couldn't stand that 8 to 5 job. I think it goes all back to that I want to be an entrepreneur. So while I was there, I got my broker's license, real estate broker license. And 3 months after I got it, I quit my job, went to my father and said, I need a loan for $20,000. I'm going to start my own business. He was not pleased at all. As far as he was concerned, I had the best job in the world. I worked for the government, 8 to 5, security, benefits. God, did I hate that job. Oh, I hated it. I was the bad guy. The people that worked there, they were lifers. They were just miserable, but just waiting to retire in their 60s. I just couldn't be around that environment. So I decided to start my own business and open a real estate and mortgage company. God blessed me with stupidity. I don't think of consequences. I just jump into it. That's good because fear is not part of it, but it's bad because I've realized that I am not a planner. I'm kind of the guy that figures it out big picture and then runs in. I need somebody with me who's detail oriented to offset me. And I decided to choose real estate as the business to be an entrepreneur, and that's how I got into it. For the first 10 years, I was a real estate broker. I ran a real estate company, a real estate mortgage company. I did all of that, but I was not an entrepreneur, and there is a difference. A realtor just goes from transaction to transaction, does not think long term, just plays checkers, moves from commission to commission. Some months are great, some months are not. And you just kind of go with the flow. And now, in the last 8 years, I've become an entrepreneur, a business owner. I think long term. Everything is chess. It's no longer checkers. Everything is an investment of time and money now. I'm proactive versus reactive. But I will say this is not for the faint of heart. I have a team, a lot of part-timers who have their jobs. And I have a transaction coordinator. I have an assistant. I own a property management company. I run one. So I have people under me that do all that for me. But what I will say is this. This job is definitely not for anybody. It is not. It's not for the faint of heart. I'm telling you, people get into this because they think it's easy and you make good money. And that is farthest from the truth. It is total bullshit. If you want to be a business owner or entrepreneur and you choose real estate as the mechanism to do it, it is a full-time, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day job. Period. And that's the difference between a realtor who understands how to take care of their clients and a licensed agent who's just licensed. And this is just a transaction. This job, let me explain why that is. This job is extremely frustrating, challenging. What other job can you put in 20 to 30 hours before you make $1? And that's assuming you make $1. And that's with a client, by the way. What kind of job? Your job is to be a total problem solver. Total problem solver, but you're not paid by hour. This job is peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. One client thinks you're the savior, the other client thinks you're an asshole. And that's just the reality of it. And the reason that is because it has to do a lot with personalities. I could be the best problem solver in the world, and I still have clients who are like, I didn't like this and I don't like that. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. I used to really stress about that and worry about that. And then I realized you can't please everybody. You just can't. So I just became me, Paco the Realtor. And things are completely different for me now in that respect. But I will say this. If you're looking to become a realtor, be careful what you ask for, because it's not what you think. It's not what you think. Your job is completely different every day. Every single day. Different problems, different headaches, different clients, different personalities, different time frames, different calendars. If you like having a repetitive job, this isn't for you. Let me give you an example of my last 3 days, and this will give you a glimpse into why this job can be so frustrating. Let me start with today because it's the most obvious. Wake up in the morning, I do some stretching, and then I jump on my laptop. Make some coffee, of course, and take 5 minutes to unwind, and then I jump on my laptop. By then, I already have, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, I already have, 20 emails and text messages to respond to from various sources, transactions, clients, a lot of spam, by the way. And you start responding to that. And then you go that's just to respond. Now you got to get into your day. And the way you schedule your day is around your appointments. If I have 3 appointments, I have to be there at a certain time. Let's say 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. What do you do in between? Well, everything else. You got to deal with your existing client base under contracts. Then you got to deal with your clients who are looking to get under contract. Completely different mindset because they're still looking. Then you have to deal with the people that are going to sell in the near future. And you got to coordinate cleaners, interior decorators, handyman, landscapers, pool cleaners, whatever's needed, painters, whatever's needed. Then you still have to go ahead and, after all that, go look for new business. Now, the days of door knocking are pretty much long gone. Social media has replaced a lot of that. But, my mentor says it great. Every day you wake up unemployed, and every day you got to give the people the opportunity to reject you. In other words, if I wake up today and nobody rejects me, that means I didn't do any marketing, social media, networking, cold calling, sales, whatever. I didn't do anything. Like these videos, I'll do small videos of this and put it on TikTok and stuff, and 80% of the comments are negative. It is what it is, right? So it's a job where you have to get rejected to be successful. Nobody likes to be rejected. Nobody likes to get kicked in the balls every day. But that's it. The more you're kicked in the balls, the more successful you are. And this is why real estate is not for everybody. It is extremely, extremely challenging. My personality type is that I like different. I like doing different things. And this is why this job works for me. I'm not an 8-to-5 job. When people ask me, you got your bachelor's, why don't you go get a good job and do something? Because those are 8-to-5 jobs. Within 6 months, I'm bored. I like to be challenged. I like to be creative. I like to be myself. It's an extremely, extremely challenging job with a lot of highs where when first-time buyer buys their house, you're the best friend. But if a seller sells their house and they don't get the value they want because it's not the market, it's your fault. I mean, it just is what it is. And you need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with, at the end of the transaction, not being their best friend. And that took a lot for me to understand because I wanted to be everybody's best friend. I wanted everybody by the end to say, damn, Paco, thank you, and like me. To them, a lot of them, I'm just a transaction. I'm just a vendor. I'm just a consultant. I'm just someone they hire to do your job and then get out of my life. And that took a lot for me to understand. The biggest thing when people ask what you do is I'm a problem solver. I don't dictate the value of your home. The market does. I don't dictate if you're a seller. If you're a buyer, I don't dictate what homes are on the market. I don't do that. I don't dictate what your interest rate is. I don't dictate how much you qualify for. Your income does that. Your credit dictates the interest rate. I don't dictate any of those. What I do is, if you're a seller, is get you the most amount of money with the smallest amount of headaches, period. And that's by anticipating problems. If I represent a buyer, my job is to get you closest to your goal, achieving your goal as I can, based on what's available. You want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Corona, California for $500,000? Good luck. It's not going to happen. Maybe we're going to have to go to Lake Elsinore. That's what I do. I am a problem solver. Here's the other part. I'm a therapist and I'm your accountability partner. And I hate to say this, most people do not like that. They don't. I thought they would, but they do not. I should say a lot of people don't. If you come to me and say, my goal is to buy a house for X amount of money and I want to be a first-time buyer, whatever it is, that's your goal. My job is to help you achieve it. But if there's a bump in the road, you get discouraged. If you finally find the house, you get fear. And you want to wait. One of the excuses we get a lot is, it's not an excuse, it's a fear tactic. It's a reaction to fear, I should say. I don't know if I want to buy this house, even though it meets all the requirements. What if a better house hits the market? That's uncertainty. That's fear. That's I'm scared to commit to this house. And we fight that all the time. All the time. And it's my job to look you in the eyes and say, you wanted X, I presented you X, now buy X. A lot of people don't like that. And that's the difference between a professional real estate agent and a licensed agent. A professional agent will anticipate 3 steps down the road. We'll have a plan. We'll have a plan A, B, and C. We'll not get too high or too low when the shit hits the fan. We're used to it. As a matter of fact, I tell people you'll never know my worth unless something goes bad. I pray nothing goes bad because it makes my life easier. But if it does, that's when you're going to see my real worth. That's where you're going to see what I'm all about. There's not a lot of jobs like that. There really isn't. So if you're out in the market, buying, selling, getting to know real estate, investments, whatever it is, and you're asking yourself, does the person I know who's licensed, by the way, we all have licensed agents in the family and the friends, is he the one or is she the one? It's simple. Have a conversation with them about plans, about history, about how they would do certain things, stuff like that. And you'll get a good feel for what they're looking for and for what they're not looking for. So, I leave you with this. Realtors do not get any credit, but get a lot of blame. We are considered to be overpaid. That's why there's current lawsuits that are probably going to take commission away from buyer's agents. All of that is false. But it is perception, and perception is reality, because we're surrounded by agents that are just licensed. And it's your job to find out who's a professional licensed realtor and who's just licensed. Thanks, guys. If you like this, go ahead and like, share, do what you got to do, and I will see you on the next podcast. This is Paco the Realtor. Until next time.